What's going on, YouTube and cryptocurrency family? My name is Harry and I'm a crypto vet. Thank you for tuning back in. We're just going to go over today just a little bit of stuff on more of the macro trend and a little bit about my strategy and how I feel. And I know a lot of people are super stressed about the market going down. So I was hoping to offer a little bit of, solace to how rough it's been lately. So if you like that, if you like the content, please hit the like, hit the subscribe. Really appreciate it. And links for Twitch, all the other goodies down below. And if you haven't already, follow me on Twitter at XRP Veterinarian, where I do posted updated charts, lots of different things. Like, one of Bull Monkeys edited me in onto a Depends commercial, so that's cool. So there's lots of stuff that you can get if you're interested. But let's go ahead and get started. If we head over to CoinMarketCap, it's looking rough right now. We're down to $1.286 trillion, and Bitcoin dominance is slowly going up. And we're going to bring up that old fancy dominance chart up again, and we'll go over that. And it looks like ETH gas fees are going down, and they should just go to zero because Ethereum pisses me off. But right now, Bitcoin is the only thing up. It's 2% up. If we actually go to the biggest movers, we have some altcoins actually making a move, but I'm very worried that this may be short-lived, and we'll go over that. And as far as the biggest losers, lots and lots of red. When I actually started to record this video earlier today, everything was red all the way in the top 100 except for the stable coins. So we're just going to have to see what happens. Well, if we go ahead and get started, we can go to Bitcoin dominance. And back in, what was this, October of last year, we started forming this pattern. We started to notice the potentials for this pattern probably at the beginning of this year. And what happened was we had a little head and shoulders pattern here. This was the measured move, and I put this right here. Drew a little midline. I did a full extension move, lots of different things. So when we actually got down to about this point here, about a month ago, I actually said in the videos that I sold off a lot of my altcoins because I wanted to take some profits, looking to see for some corrections and things like that. I actually bought back in way too early. I guess about 2 weeks too early, because there's a potential that we could keep going down. Especially right now, we see Bitcoin dominance is on the rise, and we're coming back up to this 49.29 area here. And if Bitcoin tends to go really well, we could break above this and maybe sideways trade, or we could get rejected right here. Altcoins take off and we actually go down. What happens from here, who knows? Because there's so much news and FUD and nobody knows what to believe. You have me saying this is the bottom. You've got other people saying this is the start of a bear market. So it's very difficult to determine where to go, what to do next from here. And so part of my strategy is I needed to make sure I had capital for other moves. So I took out some here, even though I am expecting us to get to at least the low that we had back in 2017, which we may not achieve now until towards the end of the run, when Bitcoin has its last explosive move for this cycle, and alts follow right after, and then that's the end, right? This is completely only if everything works exactly the way that we had before, right? And there's no guarantee that this is going to happen, which is when we look at charts like this, which is the one I brought up, incorporating the simple moving average, explaining EMAs and different reasons. It all just comes down to, we have these 4 cycles or 3 cycles so far. And if you look at Bitcoin on a macro trend, it has technically never been in a bear market, right? If we just continue, we've only set higher highs, you know what I mean, and higher lows as we go, right? So, even if we bounce up and go to here in 5 years, we could say, yeah, Bitcoin's technically never been in a bear market. It just keeps going up, right? So it's all going to be based off of time frame. But looking at time frames, a year for this bull cycle from halving on. Here, this one's 525 days. This one's roughly on par with 2013. However, look how early in the cycle we actually are, right? So you have to take what information you feel is most important and go from there. What I'm looking at is that, one thing was that whatever high we reached in May of the rally, also 13, 17, and now here, that was the floor for the next rally after it had a real pump. So, but it wasn't until about August, September, that we actually got back above that high, which was 139-ish down here. Over here, we got above it a little earlier in July, and now the question is, will we actually get over 65,000, do this plan that I'm thinking of, where we will potentially just have spikes up to well over $100,000 with a quick correction? Very similar to what we had up here, same in 2013 or 2017, but as we launch up, that's when we'll actually have the correction down, and we may actually see this $65,000 as a floor. And if we look at other charts, this is something I posted a long time ago. This here is just all of Bitcoin, and it's on the logarithmic scale for the Brave New Coin Index, and we have this ascending channel here. And let me just hide all my crap for a second. Here we go. And you can see that we've gone up. There's our next cycle. There's our next cycle, and so on and so forth. And now we're trying to decide whether we go to the end. So if we just put an ascending channel on all of this, and you can see I have it all adjusted for logarithmic data, everything, so that way you can actually see this accurately on the log scale. And if we see here, when we started, we got all the way up to the one extension, and we've rode a lot of these values all the way up. But part of the big reason why I say that if we broke 60,000 again and held, it would be the biggest rally ever seen in crypto, is because if it follows anything that has happened previously, here in this last portion, we will have a big explosive movement. Now the question is, if we look all the way back down here, we can see our values. So getting all the way to the top is 1, but we have the 786 and the 618 in this like upper blue zone. So if we just reach that same area we did in 2017, extend it out to December, this is going to put us somewhere in the $200,000 range. I'm not saying this is going to happen. I'm just saying it's very possible based off of numbers and everything that we have seen so far, and on the status of a limited supply of Bitcoin and so many other factors. So when we look at this, we can see that we're getting at the bottom of this channel, and there's two things that intersect. And this is where why I picked 25,000 as my bearish target. One is it's 50% between 30 and 20. So if everybody thinks that 30K is the bottom, right? We would never drop below 30K because everybody would put a limit order in for 30K, right? But that's not the case. Everybody's a little different. Everybody has a different plan and how they want to approach this. So my thought process is, if we did have a move all the way down to finally confirm our previous high at 20K, right here, roughly 17,000 if you do the exact measured move of the patterns that we've broken out of, if we come down to there and people are expecting it to go down to 20K, right? Let's say everybody now is like, okay, 20K is actually the bottom. We're going down there, right? Well, what if you're not completely sure it's going to drop to the bottom? So you go, I'm actually going to try to buy in at like 21, right? Well, now you have people who go from the whole spectrum who think it's 30, but they're willing to buy it down to about 25,000. And then you got the people who are at 20,000 who don't quite think it's going to hit, but they're willing to buy it up to around 25,000. So it's just an oversimplification of why I just picked 25K. It's just a very good round number. The other reason why is because we have hardly any volume in between this area here. We only traded between, this 20,000 and 30,000 for what, 3 weeks? All the other trading was either above or below it. So unless there's a lot of orders put in here, this price could technically just plummet down. There's people who are saying, like there's actually a CME gap. Let me actually see if I can pull it up real quick. There's a CME gap at several places. The one that I remember that did not get filled was actually down at like $9,000, I think. So there's always the possibility, if you do think that CME gaps fill, we can see right here, and I'll just go ahead and we're going to make this fancy as fuck. Boy, we're going to throw a fucking rectangle on it. All right, you see right here, we have a gap here that is between roughly about 7%, and that's between 24,000 and 26,000. So 24.5 and 26.5. So there's a $2,000 CME gap here in this area. And if you really believe in these things, technically they should be filled, right? But we haven't filled this one in how long now? Since what is it? It's been 6.5, almost 7 months. But then if we go even further down, right before we actually broke out, we have one little gap right here between $9,700 and $9,830. So, if you think this is going to be filled, that's very shitty, because that's going to suck. Because if we go back down to 10,000, we're looking at a total crypto market cap of, close to $500 billion, if best. So, we definitely don't want to see that. But, this is just another possibility, and I wanted to bring all the bearish and bullish news I could find. So, the bearish scenario, we go all the way down, we fill all those gaps, you know what I mean? Personally, I don't think it's going to happen. I think the most likely scenario is that we will have our one last final leg down, only because all the technicals are now showing below previous support as resistance now. And we'll go into the Wyckoff and everything here in a second. But overall, I do think that this here is going to hold as very good support. So that area is right at 25,000. So, of course we can have a wick down, but I think the wick down may reach that 20 or 21 that a lot of people are asking, but I don't think it'll stay there long. And to look at that, we can go into that Wyckoff accumulation. Now, this is the same one that I've been on the whole time. Only thing I've moved around is where the phases are. And when I explained how Wyckoff accumulation works and the whole theory behind it, whether you're in distribution, accumulation, or what's the other one? We're about to sell off. I can't think of the exact terminology. But if we know where our certain points are, and we can mark those. Once we have this done, you can actually overlap the exact Wyckoff thing, and we are exactly where this is, this spring test that I've been trying to wait for. The problem is sometimes the spring only matches the previous low and the secondary test. Sometimes the spring is like we saw here, where it actually sets a lower low, and this giant wick here, especially on the 4 hour, is very, very bullish to me, and it's helping me think in my head, okay, maybe we're good. We also have some bullish momentum. We have a lot of buy signals on Market Cipher. I don't have Lux Algo yet, but I'm interested in getting it just to offer you guys all the different technicals from different ones, understanding how each indicator actually works, because you can look at this and go, okay, I see a green dot, bitch, I'm a buy, right? Well, you need to look at it on multiple time frames. You need to develop a strategy. You got to have an entry point, an exit point, so there's more and more things that go into it. These indicators, Market Cipher, CryptoFace, wonderful indicator. I've used it now for over a year. And, CryptoJeb talks about Lux Algo, which I haven't tried, but they are all very similar. They use a lot of different indicators to blend together to give you the best image. So with all these other positive signs in the short term here, it makes me start to think, okay, maybe we could potentially have seen the bottom with this little part here, right? We hit this one at 30,000, we dropped below it, got to 28,695, and if you look on like Bitstamp and other charts, you can actually see that it almost hit what looks like a double bottom, right? Let me go this one to the daily here. The Brave New Coin Index, we can see we have like a touch, but this one number on Bitstamp, this down here at like 30,000, have not quite dropped all the way down there on the Brave New Coin Index, because this is an average that it's going to take a day to update. So where's my Bitstamp one? I think this is Bitstamp. Here we go. Yep, we can see here on Bitstamp that we actually created a lower low at 28,471. So this would be the prime time. If we could close this daily candle, somewhere above, say, 33,000, it could be very, very, very bullish. To see this easier, what I like to do is I like to zoom in on the lower time frame. So this is the hourly, and we can see right here we've got a clear resistance that we cannot get over. So right now, whether or not this was support, we getting back above, we could, drop back down to around 32,000 roughly. But if we can get above this resistance, it's very likely that we will take this distance here and go to the upside, which brings us right back to our 20 daily exponential moving average. And from here, we could start to see, just if we did this move, we're going to get at least back up to our volume support. I was just trying to be as conservative as possible, but if this is like a reverse head and shoulders, this is a good measurement you can use to see where you go. And now this is where we'd most likely have to face our next challenge of getting over our volume and our daily exponential moving average. So right now things are still looking like a mix. This here could just be another little relief rally, and we'll actually come back down, bounce in this area before going up. And then the other thing is we could fall, and then we'll have to reevaluate then at that time and see where it goes. So I hope this kind of gave you guys a better idea of what I think here. Because someone asked, do you have any doubts about this bull market being over? And I was like, of course I have doubts, because I have nothing to be 100% sure that this was not the top and that we're going to continue up, besides fundamental analysis, my technical analysis that we're viewing now. But overall, I have no idea. I'm just taking the most information I can and seeing what's the best decision I can make to be profitable in the crypto space. So we'll keep an eye on it and see what happens. Personally, again, still think this is the bottom. I still think that by August, I did originally say 100,000 by August, but the more I look at it, I don't think there's enough time. I could still be right, but for sure, I do think we'll be above 65,000 by the end of August. So let's see what happens. I'll keep changing it until it's perfectly right and I'm on doing everything exactly as predicted. But that's going to do it for today's video. Any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. Sorry I didn't get this video out earlier. I was trying to work on Twitch so that way I could start streaming again tonight, and we'll get back onto a good schedule. So if you have any questions, hit me up. I'll catch you guys in the next one.